Good afternoon, dear students. I hope you can hear me.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon. I have shared, see, you all were facing a problem in uploading your assignments. So I have created a form in that I have written the questions also. Just click on the link and let me know whether is it working properly or not and whether you are able to upload the files or not. Okay. So share this link with all the students in your class. You can share this link in the group and ask everyone to submit their uh, assignments, that is the diagram which they will be drawing in different platforms using different tools they can upload there. Okay, so I'll start with today's. Yeah.
Were the assignment supposed to be submitted like there's deadline or something before?
um, Till next Wednesday you have to submit.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
because last week I've given the time but the link was not
Was
working. I've created. Yeah.
it wasn't till now ना?
क्या? I did not get you.
अभी तक नहीं थी ना?
अभी
That
तक क्या नहीं थी? हाँ, last week I have given the deadline, if you remember मैंने दी थी, then I have extended it. Okay, so now you can submit till next Wednesday. Okay.
oh, last week you said this Wednesday, right?
Yeah. तो
Like
अभी जिसका ready है they can upload. क्योंकि many were having confusion with the questions which I have given. So I have uh, written about the questions about all the state diagrams which I have asked for. So you can create them and you can submit them. It would hardly take your time. Maybe 1 hour or 2 hour would be enough to submit these assignments.
so
Okay.
the deadline is like this Wednesday or the next Wednesday, like 8th or
For question one, it would be this Wednesday, and for two and three, it would be 15th.
okay.
Because for the one I have already given so much of time. Okay, for the second and third you can submit it on 15th.
Okay.
So just convey this to all the classmates. Okay, so in the last class we started with the interaction model. We have already studied it in software engineering, so we'll just revise it and we'll see it in more detail what new things we would be learning. And in the lab we would be designing these diagrams and would see how does it look, how does it work, and how does it help us to understand the various activities going on, or how the interaction between various objects is taking place. Okay, so the interaction model we started with, so it usually tells us about the interaction which is taking place among the different objects which are involved in your system when you are designing it, or maybe in your project. So we saw that we usually design this interaction model to identify the requirements of the user, and at the same times we try to identify the problems, means what is the occurrence of the problem, if we have any hurdle, any error in any stage, what is the reason for that particular error, and how it can be treated, or how it can be resolved, those all things. And at the same time we saw that interaction model helps us to understand the behavior of the system. Okay, so we saw that interaction model consists of, or we can say that interaction model uses use case diagram, sequence diagram, and the activity diagram. So you whenever you'll be going through any book or any content over the internet, you will see that you whenever you'll search for interaction model, as in response you would see that use case diagrams would be given to you. or either you'll get sequence diagram or activity diagram. So all these are also called as an interaction, because a communication interaction is going on between among the various objects. Okay, so use case can be also called as an interaction, sequence can be called as an interaction model, and the activity model can be also called as an interaction model. Okay, so we'll see these all models in detail, and we'll try to work on some problem statements so that we can be thorough with these topics, and we can design these diagrams successfully in a better way, without missing any point. Okay, in the communication which can be involved or which can be included in the system to make it a complete piece. Okay, so let's see the uses of interaction model, where it can be used or how it can be useful. Then we'll start with use case model. So I'll just share my screen. Okay. So we have already seen about the interaction model, and we saw interaction between the teacher and the student, and the customer and the bank manager. So how this interaction model, where all it can be used? Okay. Interaction model uses. So the mod it is used to model the flow of control by time sequence. Okay, so used to model the flow of control by time sequence. Okay, so interaction model can be used in those places where we want to see with the particular point in time how the things are taking place. Okay, how is the activities going on. For example, if I'll talk about again the registration form, because this is the best example. So if we are talking about the interaction between the student and that particular site where you are filling the registration form, and which is being operated or being monitored or being controlled by the administrative person. Okay, so it would be open for you to at a particular time, and it would be closed. So when before opening, the link is not operatable. Okay, it's not giving any response. When you click no response, that is the interaction and what you get from that. And when at a particular date and a time, when you click on it, it gets open and you start filling your things. Okay, either you are being asked to create your account, either you are being asked to fill your details, either you are being asked to upload some documents supporting the your percentage and marks and everything. Okay, so and after a certain time for which the panel has been opened, when it closed, the form is automatically submitted, or when you click on it, it gets submitted. After the closing time, you cannot access it. Okay, so with the passage of time, with the or passage of time, you can say, or we can also call it as at a particular time, at a particular point in a time, how the things are, what are their behaviors actually, as we are studying about the behavior of different objects. So at a particular point in time, what is the behavior of the objects, how they are interacting, how they are behaving, how is their state. That all thing would be discussed in detail in interaction model. If you remember, when we were studying about the state model, state also defines the particular situation or condition of that particular thing in that point of time. Okay, the switch is on, the light is glowing, otherwise off. So at that, if any action or event is happened, what is the state of that particular system? How that state transaction has taken place? The same way in the interaction model will be saying in a particular time if we have to correlate the activities with the time, so we'll be seeing how these are behaving, how the interaction, how the activities are going on. Okay, so that would be easy to understand in interaction model. With the help of the model, we can see how the thing, how the flow, how the data, or how the interaction is started, how the things are being created, and how you can access it. Okay, that all things. Now, the second thing is the this model is also used. This interaction model helps us to understand the flow of control by structural organization. Now, flow of control means if uh, you are in the bank and you are having a conversation, or you are trying to operate your account, and whether it is savings account or current account, you want to withdraw it, or you are depositing some amount, or you want to make an FD. If you are above age 40, you have some benefits. If you are above age 50, you have some benefits. So those all things can be easily understood with the structural representation. Okay, that is done in interaction model. So it can be used to understand the flow of control by structural representation or structural organization. So I'll write this. It can be used to model the flow of control by just give me a minute. Okay. So the second point says that it can be used to model the flow of control by structural representation. Okay, so it would show how the things are interacting and how they are being behaving at different stages. Okay, now it also helps us in forward and reverse engineering. Okay, so used for okay, now it also helps us in the forward and reverse engineering. Now we know that the forward engineering is usually making any application or any tool with the help of collecting the requirements. Okay, just give me a minute, excuse me. understand with the help of an example. So let me define first use case model, then we'll see what are use cases and what are the actors and how these actors and use case interact with each other and give us an interaction model or a use case model. So use case can be defined as the simplest representation of the user interaction with the system. So it is the simple way of representing, simplest representation of a user's interaction with the system. And that shows the relationship between the user and the different use cases. Okay, so it shows us the interaction of a user with the system, and which shows the relationship between the user and the different use cases. That means different processes in which user is involved. Now, in this, the main thing is that how the interaction between the user or a machine or a process or a system is taking place. Okay, so it may also include another use case functionality or extend any other use case with its own behavior. So sometimes if you are performing any work, if you have connected with any process, that process may involve further steps, okay, that can be included or extended so that the communication or the interaction with that particular system can be completed in a successful manner. Okay, so in such conditions, also use case model may include some functionality or can be extended or included, which would show its behavior, how the process is behaving or how the process is being executed or what is the functionality of that particular process, and would help us to understand the model in a better way. Okay, so I'll just write that it may include another use case functionality or extend another use case with its own behavior. Now, what is the purpose of drawing this use case? Okay, we have already seen the purpose of interaction model. What is the purpose of interaction model was mainly to identify the user requirements and highlight the problems which can occur while having communication, means when two objects are interacting. Okay, so these can be various situations where interaction model can be used. So let's see the purpose of use case model in detail and try to understand it. So purpose of use case model. It is used to gather the requirements of the system, the same like interaction we have studied. So, used to gather the requirements of a system while we are working in any system, or if we are trying to develop any system or a software or app. So we'll be analyzing, we'll be collecting all those things which would be required to make or design that particular thing. Okay, it would make us understand, or we can say that it would give us a layout, a dummy structure, or we can say it gives us the outlook view of the system after designing, how it would look, how it would work, what would be the various functions or processes may be involved in it. Okay, so it would give us the outlook or the outside view of a system. So it gives so it gives an outside view of a system. Now, it also helps us in identifying the factors which are affecting the behavior or the working of the system. Now, these factors can be external factors or internal factors. So, how they would be influencing the working of the whole project of the system or the system, it would help us to understand it. Okay, so it would help us to identify the external and internal factors influencing the system. Now it also shows it shows the interaction among various actors involved in that particular system. Okay, so how they are interacting with each other, how the communication is going on, how the data flow is taking place, that all things would be clearly explained or specified in this use case diagram. Now, in this, we have some elements. Okay, if we'll be talking about drawing this diagram, so how this diagram can be drawn, or how it can be done. So, there are few elements which are required to draw this diagram. Okay, diagram elements, we can call them as diagram elements. Now, in this, we have actors, use case, system boundary, and relationships. Okay, so these are few elements which are required to draw the use case diagram. Now let's try to understand actors in detail. What are actors now? Actors represents the role, maybe individual or a person, device, or any other system. Okay, so we can say that it is a role which interacts with the system. We can call it a role that interacts with the system. Now, this role can be represent. Okay, role represents a person, a device, or any other system. So, role represents a person or a device or another system. Now, this actor communicates with the system. How does it communicate? It communicates with the system by sending or receiving messages. So, this actor, the work of this actor is to communicate with the system